If you're over 60 and the soles of your feet have started burning, tingling, or going numb, and you've been told, that's just neuropathy, you have to live with it, I need you to stop what you're doing and listen to me very carefully. Because right now, there are 7 things sitting in your kitchen, in your fridge, in your morning routine that you believe are completely harmless or even healthy, that are quietly destroying the nerves in your hands and your feet every single day. I'm Dr. Richard James. In the next 18 minutes, I'm going to walk you through all 7 of them. But I need you to stay with me until habit number 7, because that's the one I see almost every single neuropathy patient in my clinic doing. They have no idea it's making them worse. I've spent more than 2 decades helping patients over 60 understand why their bodies are doing what they're doing and what they can actually do about it. What I am about to tell you is not opinion. It is the picture that emerges when you read the published research on dietary glycation and peripheral nerves side by side with what walks into a senior neuropathy clinic every single week. What almost no one explains to neuropathy patients is this: your nerves are not breaking down because you got older. Your nerves are being chemically attacked every time you eat by something called an AGE, an advanced glycation end product. Here's what that means in plain language. When sugar molecules in your bloodstream hit certain proteins, including the myelin sheath, which is the protective insulation around your nerves, they bind to them permanently. They cross-link. They glue the nerve insulation together in places where it shouldn't be glued. The nerve can no longer carry its signal cleanly. What you feel is burning, tingling, numbness, the sensation that your foot has fallen asleep and it just won't wake up. The research on this is not new. A peer-reviewed study published in Acta Diabetologica found that in nearly 90% of diabetic peripheral nerves, AGEs were detectable on the axons and on the myelin sheaths themselves. In healthy control nerves, those AGEs were not present. More recent peripheral neuropathy work in 2024 has gone further. It links accumulated AGEs in the skin directly to reduced structural integrity of the sciatic nerve. After 60, your body's ability to clear those compounds drops significantly. Every plate of food, every drink, every snack, they leave behind more damage than they used to. The 7 habits I'm about to show you are the ones loading your bloodstream with AGEs faster than your nerves can possibly recover. Picture someone you might know, a woman in her early 70s, retired school teacher. She walks every day. She takes her medications. She follows every rule her doctor gave her. Yet her feet burn so badly at night that she sleeps with her feet outside the blanket because the touch of the sheet feels like sandpaper. Her neurologist tells her it's idiopathic, which is medical language for we don't know. A careful dietary review reveals that she drinks 2 diet sodas a day. She cooks with the same bottle of vegetable oil for weeks. She has a small bowl of fruit and a square of dark chocolate every night around 9:30 before bed. Each one of those choices, on paper, sounds harmless. Together, they describe the exact pattern that my own clinical experience and the published research on dietary AGEs both flag as one of the most efficient ways to keep nerves under chemical attack. She is not unusual. She is the rule, not the exception, of who walks through my door with progressing neuropathy. Now, before I name even one of these habits, I need you to understand something. Every single day you continue them, you are adding new AGEs to a body that can no longer clear them. The burning, the tingling, the numbness, they are not just symptoms of getting older. They are biological distress signals from nerves that are being chemically strangled from the inside. Habit number 1. You already know fried foods are bad for you. You've heard it your whole life. But here is what nobody told you about reheated cooking oil. Every time that same bottle of oil hits the pan a second time, a third time, a fourth time, it doesn't just get less healthy, it transforms into a chemical soup of oxidized fats and AGE precursors that your bloodstream absorbs and your nerves cannot get rid of. The standard restaurant fryer is the worst version of this. The same oil, day after day, sometimes for an entire month. The home version is the bottle of vegetable oil in your cabinet that you've been using for 3 weeks. That bottle is no longer the same oil you bought. It is a more toxic version of itself. After 60, your liver cannot detoxify it the way it once could. The same dose of oxidized fat that your body shrugged off at 40 now stays in circulation for hours, long enough to reach the most distant nerves in your body, which are the ones in your feet. Habit number 2, the way you like your meat cooked. If you've spent your whole life ordering steaks well done, charring your bacon until it's nearly black, grilling your chicken until the skin is almost burnt, I need you to understand something. That beautiful brown crust is called the Maillard reaction. It is one of the largest single sources of dietary AGEs in the American diet. Mount Sinai's published work on dietary AGEs has documented this clearly. Your gut absorbs them, they circulate, they bind to the very proteins that keep your nerves insulated. The more well done your meat, the higher the dose. A medium rare steak has a fraction of the AGEs that a well done one carries. A poached chicken breast has a tiny fraction of what a grilled and charred one has. The same piece of meat, cooked 2 different ways, can deliver 10 times the AGE load. The viewer who slow cooks their roast and the viewer who chars it on the grill are not eating the same food, even when the label is identical. Now, those first 2 habits, most people half expected. The next 3, I promise you, are the ones that catch even my own patients completely off guard. One of them is something you probably do every single afternoon, believing it is the healthier choice. Habit number 3, the diet soda, the sugar-free yogurt, the 0-calorie sweetener in your morning coffee. You chose them specifically because you believed they were safer. Here is what the published animal research actually shows. In a study on the long-term effects of aspartame on the sciatic nerve, the myelin sheath itself was damaged. Wide gaps in the insulation, separation of the protective layers, the kind of axonal atrophy normally seen in advanced neuropathy. Now, animal research is not a substitute for a human trial. It is a flashing warning light that says, pay attention to this, especially if your neuropathy is not improving despite cutting out sugar. The artificial sweetener you reach for instead may be doing the same damage the sugar would have done, possibly faster. There is also a second mechanism at work. These compounds reshape the bacteria in your gut. The wrong gut bacteria produce inflammatory signals that travel through your bloodstream to your nerves. So you are not just sweetening your coffee, you are altering the messages your gut is sending to your peripheral nervous system every single morning. Habit number 4, your daily processed deli meats. The packaged turkey breast, the low-fat prepared meals from the frozen aisle, the ones with the long ingredient list and the emulsifiers you can barely pronounce. Here is the part nobody talks about. Those emulsifiers degrade the protective mucus barrier in your gut. They thin the very wall that is supposed to keep AGE precursors and inflammatory molecules out of your bloodstream. Think of that barrier as a window screen. Healthy, it keeps the bugs out. Damaged, it lets them in. So even when you are eating healthy later in the day, more of what you eat is leaking through into your system. It is reaching your nerves. There is one more layer. Processed deli meats are themselves an AGE delivery vehicle. The smoking process, the curing process, the high-temperature drying, all of them create dietary AGEs. So the same product is both damaging the gate and pushing damage through the gate at the same time. Habit number 5, your morning fruit juice, your afternoon smoothie, the natural sweetened beverages you reach for because they sound healthy. Here is what no one in marketing will ever tell you. In liquid form, the sugar in a glass of orange juice hits your liver in a way that is nearly indistinguishable from soda. A single 16-ounce glass of juice carries roughly the same fructose load as 4 or 5 whole pieces of fruit, without the fiber that normally slows the absorption down. After 60, your liver cannot process it the way it used to. The juice becomes a glycation accelerator. The smoothie, even the green one, often does the same thing. Because the moment fruit is blended, the fiber is shredded into pieces small enough that your body absorbs the sugar as if the fiber were not there. Starting tonight, swap your morning juice for whole fruit and a glass of plain water. In my clinic, that single swap, combined with cutting out evening sweets, has produced noticeable reductions in fasting glucose and in overnight burning within about 4 weeks. The exact numbers vary from patient to patient. The direction has been remarkably consistent. Now here is the good news in all of this. Every single one of these habits, including the next 2, is something you can stop today. Your nerves, even after years of damage, retain the ability to heal. Stay with me, because in just a moment, I'm going to give you the exact protocol I give my own patients. I know this is a lot. I know some of you are sitting there thinking, wait, I've been doing every single one of these because I thought I was being healthy. That is exactly the point. It is not your fault. You were given the wrong map. Now you have the right one. Before we get to that protocol, there are two more habits. These last two, habits number 6 and number 7, are the ones that almost no one suspects. The 7th one in particular, I see in nearly every single patient who walks into my clinic with neuropathy. It is what I would call the single most overlooked cause of progressive nerve damage I have seen in my career. Habit number 6. If you skip breakfast, run on coffee until noon, and then eat a heavy lunch full of bread, pasta, or rice, you are creating what we call a glycation spike. Your body, after a long fast, dumps stress hormones to keep you running. When the carbohydrates finally arrive, your blood sugar climbs higher and stays elevated for longer than it would in a younger body. After 60, that spike does not just happen and fade quickly. It lingers, sometimes for hours longer than it would have when you were 40. That entire window is when your nerves are taking the most damage. Every minute that your blood sugar is sitting at an elevated level, AGEs are forming. Every minute. The pattern of no breakfast, big lunch turns the middle of your day into a glycation furnace. There is a second part of this you may not have heard before. The cortisol surge your body releases during a long morning fast independently makes your cells less responsive to insulin. So when the meal hits, you are both producing more glycation and clearing it more slowly. The same lunch, eaten after a breakfast, would not have done this. Now we arrive at the most important part of this entire video. Because if you stop everything else and only change one habit, this is the one that, in my clinical experience, makes the single biggest difference for your nerves. Now, this next one is the one I lose sleep over. I will tell you why. Habit number 7. This is the one. If you eat anything sweet after 8 p.m., and I mean anything, late-night fruit, a piece of dark chocolate, a glass of milk with honey, a cookie with your evening tea, your body, at night, after 60, cannot clear it the way it used to. Nighttime glucose clearance drops sharply as you age. The same snack that your body could process at 40 now stays in your bloodstream for hours while you sleep. Here is the part that should genuinely concern you. The nightly repair window. The hours when your nerves would normally clear the previous day's damage, when your body is supposed to be regenerating, gets converted into the window when the damage is at its absolute worst, because the sugar is still circulating. The AGE reaction is most efficient when the body is at rest, the temperature is steady, and the sugar is unopposed by any further movement or activity. Think about that for a second. The very hours when your nerves are supposed to heal are the hours when they are taking the most damage. Not because of anything you did during the day, because of what you ate after 8 p.m. There is one more piece of this you need to understand. The damage is not linear. It compounds. Tonight's late-night carbohydrate does not just produce one night of damage. It feeds the AGE pool that will cross-link new proteins tomorrow morning, the morning after that. So a single nightly habit, repeated for a year, is not 365 nights of damage. It is 365 nights stacked on top of each other. This is the part that frustrates me the most as a doctor, because every single neuropathy patient I see who is doing this, almost all of them are, has been told to focus on what they eat. Almost none of them have been told to look at when they eat. In my clinical experience, that single distinction is the difference between nerves that keep getting worse and nerves that finally start to heal. Now, I know some of you are thinking, my doctor never said any of this, so is it really real? I understand that question. What I want you to know is that the standard neurology training in this country has almost nothing to say about dietary glycation. It is not that your doctor is wrong. It is that the conversation never happens. The neurology curriculum is built around medications and electrical signals. It is not built around what happens when sugar binds to nerve insulation. I am trying to start that conversation, tonight, with you. Some of you are thinking, I cannot do all 7 at once. It is too much. I hear that too. So let me make this very simple. If you can only change one habit this week, change habit number 7. Stop eating after 8 p.m. Just that. Stop. Then in 30 days, look at your feet, look at your hands, and tell me what you notice. So here is exactly what I want you to do. Tonight, no food, no sweetener, nothing after 8 p.m. Just water and herbal tea after that hour. This week, every juice, every smoothie, every sweetened drink, including the diet versions, gone. Replaced with whole fruit and plain water. Within 30 days, every meal cooked at home, in fresh oil, at moderate heat, with meat that is poached, steamed, slow-cooked, or grilled only to medium, never charred. Alongside that, switch your processed deli meats for fresh cooked turkey or chicken you portion out yourself in a single Sunday afternoon for the week ahead. Do that for 30 days. Pay attention to 3 things when you wake up: the burning in your feet, the tingling in your hands, the morning stiffness. Those are the earliest signals that the damage is reversing. You may also notice your sleep deepens. You may notice you wake without the foggy heaviness that has felt normal for years. Those are the same biological systems coming back online. Your nerves have not actually died. They have been chemically muted by what was on your plate and by when you put it there. Starting tonight, that stops. If you know someone over 60 who has neuropathy, a parent, a spouse, a friend who has stopped going for walks because their feet burn, please share this video with them. You might be the reason their nerves finally start to heal. Share it tonight while it's still fresh, because the longer you wait, the easier it is to let the moment pass. Subscribe, because next week I'm covering the 3 specific vitamins that can accelerate nerve repair once the damage has stopped, including the one most people are taking in the form their body cannot actually absorb. If you take any vitamin for your nerves, you will want to see that video. I'm Dr. Richard James. Take care of your nerves tonight. You've earned it. I'll see you in the next one.